everybody. Rainy days, yes. Here we go. Yes, how is everybody today? How many of you liked the rain? Let's hear it for the rain. Okay, yeah, so who didn't like the rain? It's okay. It was kind of rain like we've never seen, though, right? I don't remember rain like that since 1992, right? I remember that because I was doing a play in Hollywood, and it rained. It was not West Side Story. Yeah, in 1992. Well, I could have done it then. Anyway, welcome to our celebration of love today. Driving here, I was like, I wonder how many people are coming out in the rain. And Kevin was like, but it's sunny. I said, most people are still thinking it's raining. We have a special thing that we're starting to do with our services. And could you give me that next slide there, Mike? Home to home, one community, many homes. There are so many homes across the country that watch us on Sunday morning, and what they're doing now is having watch parties. So I wanted to reach out to everybody in Palm Springs that are watching us today, everybody in Toronto, and which is also called Global 2 Center Toronto, who is watching us. We have a watch party in Arizona. We have one in New Jersey. Let me see, what did I miss? Did I miss anybody? Seattle, oh my God, thank you. Seattle, of course, Pam and Gary Ninneman, who will probably open Global 2 Center Seattle. Little nudge there. And Scott and Marilyn are there today, yes, because they would be sitting right there. So welcome to all of you, and thank you for being here with us this morning. I also want to ask, is there anybody here for the first time today? No one here for the first time. Oh my God. There are people who have been here many times before, though, from other countries even. Okay, so then, you're here. Look, they're pointing you out. You can't hide. You just can't hide. Could you just stand up for 1 second? Tell me your name. Marty. Oh, Marty, are you an actress? No. Were you an actress? No. Were you a dancer? No. Were you a singer? No. What do you do?
You have to guess.
What do you do? You're a hair model, because your hair is amazing. What did you do?
Computer software.
You said that with this face of like, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it's, no, that's great. Okay, good. And these two brought you here? Susie brought you here? Joe, do you know that Joe used to play Mickey Mouse at Disneyland? No. Stand up, Joe. He is standing. Well, thank you for coming and being part of our service today. Oh, absolutely. See, I think, yes. So we're gonna go through our service, but we want you to know that we honor you today for coming here. And what we teach is that right where we are, God is. Whatever version of God you want, right? So she didn't? I'm glad you didn't, because sometimes they're all prepped when they come in, and then, yeah. So this song is for you. I invite you all to stand up, and here we go. I can't help it, God makes me want to sing. See that? I can't help it, God makes me want to sing. It makes me feel so good, I can do most anything. Well, I am loving every living thing. I can see the face of God in paupers and kings. There you go. Well, we're all precious highest place, with the wind in my back and a smile on my face, right, Tiffany? Well, I'm living my life more and more each day, and you know what? I don't care what those wigglers say. I am reaching for my highest place, Sally. Here we go. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. I can't help it. God makes me want to sing. It makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. How does it make you feel, Natalie? It makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. How does it make you feel, Liz? It makes me feel so good. I can do most anything. Okay. Woo. Now how do y'all feel? Yeah, how are your pacemakers doing? So welcome to the Global Truth Center, where we celebrate love only, forgive everything, and remember who you are. Most importantly, of course, what? Remember who you are. So I'm going to give you some time to remember who you are, so take a deep breath. And there'll be a beautiful video behind me. You can close your eyes or open your eyes. Let yourself just drift into beautiful landscape. There is something inside of you right now that is moving you, that is cleansing you, that is washing over you. A sense of love, joy, anticipation, creativity. Whatever it is, just let it out. Rolling river God, and little stones so smooth, but only once the water rushes through. And so I am a stone, rough and grainy still, trying to reconcile the water's chill. But when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer will be just one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand. Sometimes swollen high, and sometimes raging wild, but never have I heard this river quiet. The deepest part of you is where I long to stay. and feel those roughest edges wash away. And when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and a change takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer will be just one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am. Just a little smoother in your hand, rolling river god, little stones so smooth, but only once the water rushes through. Take a deep breath. If you'd look at the slide behind me, could not have ended on a perfect moment. Better than that. Okay, just take another deep breath. So every week we have a practitioner come up here or another minister to talk about our theme and talk about what our month has been about. The idea of that song, Rolling River God, is that as individualized expressions of God, understanding that God is everything, every particle, every space, God is all of the energy and love of the universe, and that filters itself as you, as me, as you, Emily. So the idea of these rolling rivers that wash away all the edges. Anybody have any edges? If you don't raise your hand, I can point to you. I do know most of you. So there are a lot of edges, you know, and we've right, Mike? You have edges, don't you? No, you don't. Okay. Yeah. So these edges are just these things that we want to smooth out a little bit. And that's kind of what we do up here with our practitioner. Now, this person who's coming up here today, he has been a practitioner not even a year yet. He is in ministerial, but he has actually done something monumental in the last couple of weeks. He's done something really spectacular, and I want him to talk about that today. So please welcome Thor Chalgren. You walked up here so sullen. You were like, so tell the audience what's happening, Thor.
Well,
what did you do last week?
Last weekend I was in Anchorage, Alaska, to give a TEDx talk, which is something that I had been. It was interesting. My best friend who went up there with me, well, he was there to see it. He told me in the car the next day, he said, you know, I've known all these people in my life, and he goes, now that I think about it, I've never met anyone who actually did that. And thinking about that is kind of a rare thing.
To do a TEDx talk.
Yeah. But it was the people there were 10 people, and it was the most amazing experience just being with these other people, because we got the opportunity to see what they were speaking about. Right. And there were times like you're so in what you know you're doing that when I saw the other people, there were times when I would just cry. Like it was the experience of being with all of these people who had put so much and were bringing whatever their unique idea was. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It was just phenomenal.
But knowing you as well as I know you, I would like to think that you sat there knowing you were equally as amazing.
Yes, well, I mean, you have to because
You have to, or else.
you have to. Yeah. In fact, this is a picture of the stage, and here's what I wanted to share. When you're about to go on, it can be in the condition and the relative. It can be a little bit terrifying because there's 100 people in this room. They've all paid $100, and I was the first speaker. So there's a little bit of like, whatever I say is going to set the tone, and people are going to be sitting there going, I paid for this, or they're going to be like, I paid for this. So that was what I knew in advance, and I was thinking about, I mean, we had someone in the room who was an Olympic gold medalist in cross-country skiing, and so I'd observed how she was preparing, and we all had our meditation and all the things. What I did was I was thinking about prosperity as a location. And I thought about, like, we know that in my case, my talk had been given over 200 times. Like, I had practiced it that many times. So I knew that it was in the universe. Every single word that I had spoken is out there already. So what I did was I thought about when I went, like, right, because we would stand right on that little piece of AstroTurf, I said, when I go out there, my talk is already there. It is all around that location, and all I'm doing is going down, and it's going to inhabit me and flow through me.
Does that sound great? That's what more actors could use that. It's like my performance is already there. I'm going to go step into it, which is also what rehearsal is all about. Thus, you're 200 and how many?
That by the time I gave it, it was the 210th time. But
and just so you know, today while you're speaking, you are speaking to an audience that has a bronze Olympic gold medalist.
I know.
And you also have a world champion figure skater. So you've got both of those things happening just to make you a little more nervous.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And then I think just knowing that when you're back ready to go on, like that's what I actually prepped for. Was I mentally rehearsed how I was going to feel standing there waiting for my name to be called. Not like going down there, because once you go down there, you're on autopilot.
You're done, yeah.
But how would I feel? And when I stood there and I looked down at that, I felt good because I knew the perfect version of my talk is waiting for me to come down there and give it.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Now, you have to tell the funny story, too.
Oh, yeah. So it was interesting. So this is a talk where on Thursday we gave it to all of the other speakers, and just so we could all hear each other. Because on the day of, you wouldn't be able to hear everybody's talk because you'd be in the green room or doing whatever. So there's a certain section of my talk where I ask a question, and it never occurred to me that this was anything but a rhetorical question. I always thought there would be no answer here. And when we rehearsed it, the speaking coach who was working with us said, someone may, if you look at someone, when you ask the question, they may answer you. You need to be ready for that. And so I had the choice of either like sort of looking generally at a space and not someone in particular, or look at Steve Brabant in particular. And now Steve's going to feel like he has to answer my question.
And he will.
Yeah. So in the moment, I asked the question, and I sort of just generally, because I'm like, I don't know that I'm ready to look at one person and put them on the spot and make them. So the question was, this is all about travel and about how all the people in the audience could have some perspective on their hometown. And if they were to recommend it to someone, what would they say? So I said, if you could recommend something about Anchorage, Alaska, what would you recommend? What would you suggest a vacationer do? And I was looking generally, so I don't expect an answer. And out of the blue, someone answers my question, and they say, go to a drag show in Anchorage, Alaska. The last thing I ever expected.
And wasn't that great, though? Because you had to laugh.
I totally laughed, because you're like, I don't have a comeback for that one. So
that famous drag show in Anchorage, Alaska.
Apparently,
Yeah.
it's an undiscovered drag community in Alaska.
Are we going to Anchorage on our cruise?
We are not. It's a little bit further north.
So no drag shows.
But I will say, what's funny is that's the last place that you would think, like Anchorage in February, the people there are so amazing. I would say to anyone who's ever just go up there, the people are so lovely. It's a really interesting community of people who are from all over, and many grew up there, and then they left, and then they came back because there's something about that place that is so meaningful to them.
Well, that's great. Well, and I just want to say this about prosperity. This is prosperity. We always think prosperity is about money. No, prosperity is about filling your life with experiences that fulfill you. Now you're living a prosperous life. If you are doing what makes you sing, right, Joe? What makes you sing, what makes you dance, what makes your heart fly, then you are living a prosperous life. It's not about how much money you have. And I would say this, which I just said to my son, because he asked me about, he was talking about, he goes, so many of my friends got out of college. You'll love this, Emily. Got out of college. They're all making like six-figure, jobs already. He said, and I'm like going to be a filmmaker. And I said, and? He said, and I'll make like 10 figures, I'm sure. He said, but it's going to take me a little bit of time. I said, are you doing what you love? I said, yeah. He said, yes. I said, then you're always, always going to have exactly what you need and more. That's what I believe. Yeah. Do what you love, the rest follows. And you do what you love. I mean, you came here. When I first came to this center, you weren't working any of this, were you?
No. A little bit, but yeah.
But then you just figured out how to run everything. Now you are the center of this center, running everything, because you're a prosperous man.
Because I love it too. I love the community and the people, and so.
So, shall you lead us in our theme?
Can I just make one observation about
the girl?
We've looked at the girl for a month now, and it's not about the girl, it's about where she's standing. And it occurred to me this morning, she's standing on a very thin rail, and she has no fear at all.
No.
Because, what's the worst that could happen to her? She falls into the ocean.
Or she falls onto the planks.
Well, that would be the worst, actually, yes.
And hits the grass on the way down.
That sense of walking on that sort of
Absolutely.
tightrope and not caring.
She looks like she's ready to just dive in. I love that. Yeah, I was just observant. Very good, very present. Okay, so what is our affirmation?
It's on the next slide.
Hit it, Mike. Oh, other way.
Other way.
Here we go.
I celebrate, and I don't know about you. I'm standing, so I think you celebrate best when you're standing, don't you? I celebrate prosperity as my natural birthright. Are you guys ready to say that? Let's do it.
I celebrate prosperity as my natural birthright. Again?
I celebrate prosperity as my natural birthright.
Do y'all feel that? It is who you are. Okay, let's give it up for Thor Chalgren.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So, I don't talk about spirit breath a lot from up here. Come on up, ladies. But you should join us. Every morning, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m., we have a spirit breath class. It's only half an hour, but it sets your day up so beautifully. Monday is Sherry Verson or Kirby or Karen Oxrider. I think they're the three who are doing that. Is that correct? Yes. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is just me. And then on Friday now, it's me and Phil, who's from Toronto, who does has a whole studio of instruments. It's like a sound bath included with some verbiage, some visualization. It's just amazing, and it's free. I mean, we ask for donations, but it's free. So join us. So this is one of the songs that I use in Spirit Breath meditation. So we thought, time to do it here. Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Open all the windows, let in all the light. You can pull the stars down, make a perfect sky. But go and write your song. The world will sing along. Oh, it's yours for the taking. You can test the waters, but you might as well jump in. You'll never know where you'll end up, so you might as well begin. The memories you're making are framed inside your heart. The middle of a nowhere is someplace you can start. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Oh, life's what you make it. Oh, it's yours for the taking. Go and write your own song. All the world will sing along. When you find your melody, we'll join in harmony. Oh, life's what you make it. Oh, life's what you make it. Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it lead the way. Oh, life's what you make it. Oh, life's what you make it. Oh, it's yours for the taking. Go and write your own song. All the world will sing along. When you find your melody, we'll join in harmony. Oh, life's what you make it. Life's what you make it. Oh my God, that's hysterical. I was ready to sing 2 more verses. So, life is what you make it. How do you feel about that? Really? You're all like, yeah, right, Ro. That's the real answer. So life is what you make it. Isn't that what we teach? Isn't that what we teach? Yes. Isn't that what we teach? Yeah. Right. So life is what you make it. So you can't bitch about it. Because you've made it. Yes? Yes? Now that was a lesser yes. It was like, what? So no, you can't. You really can't complain about life because your life, your individual life, right? Your part of your individual life, you made. Now, you didn't make everything outside of yourself, except you did in some ethereal way. But in your own individual life, you make what you make out of your life, regardless of what is going on. Yes? I'm loving it. It's like, So the title of my talk today is this. If life is what you make it, I'm doing the slides. Make the slides work. If life is what you make it good. Right? So if life is what you make it good. So I want to start with an Ernest Holmes quote. So here we go. The storehouse of nature is filled with infinite good. Do you believe that? Yes. That was better. So the storehouse of nature, what that means is in the quantum field, in this beautiful energy of life that we're all living, there is this infinite good available to all of us. Ernest Holmes says there's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it. And I say you can use it because you are it. So the storehouse of nature is filled with infinite good, awaiting the touch of our awakened thought to spring forth into manifestation in our lives. So there's all of this infinite good, and it takes your mind to manifest it into your life. Pretty simple, right? It takes how you think about things. So let me ask you, how you been thinking about things lately? I love that. Great, good. But however you've been thinking, What about this side? I'm worried. How have you been thinking about things? It's really important to really look at, and that's what happens sometimes. Everything's great, everything sucks. And we're in the middle. And we're telling the universe, we don't know. So, it's awaiting the touch, now look at this, of our awakened thought. So I'm talking about the thoughts that are true, the thoughts that come from a higher level of consciousness, which means they are not reactive thoughts, they are creative thoughts. And he goes on, aren't you happy I broke this down and didn't just throw that huge quote up at you? So, the storehouse of nature is filled with infinite good, we're all good with that, awaiting the touch of our awakened thought to spring forth into manifestation in our lives, but the awakening must within our thought, must be. But the awakening must be within our thought. And for me, while this is a great quote of Ernest Holmes, it doesn't go deep enough. Because the awakening is not just in your thought. The awakening must be in your heart. The awakening must be in your mind. It must be what you believe. It must be what you literally embody, because that's where your thoughts come from. So where we've come to now in this teaching is, on this quantum field, understanding that everything is reactionary. What you do with your mind, the universe reacts to. You show up with fear, that energy of fear will show up in your perimeter. You show up with love only, and that energy of love will be right where you are, no matter what. That's what we teach. Now, if that's what we teach, is it what we're believing? Are we really believing this in every area of our life? So here's the next quote of Ernest Holmes. Within us is a mental law working out the will and purposes of our conscious thoughts. Now, it's not that it's within us, it's who you are. You are the law as well. We've come to realize we are all, this is one thing. We compartmentalize it to understand it better. But within you, as you, who you are, is someone whose word is the law of your life. What you think sets the trajectory for how you will experience life. So when we're talking about prosperity, if you are not experiencing prosperity, Houston, you have a problem. And the problem is your mind and your heart and what you're believing. It's that simple. And I say that all the time. People get really annoyed with me. They're like, it may be simple to you, but it's not that simple. It is that simple. We just make it harder by believing it's harder. It's really that simple. Are you willing to curate your mind, your thoughts, in order to believe what you want to believe in order to live the life you want to live? It is that simple. So the problem is, in this quote, conscious thoughts. We break the mind into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. In your subconscious mind, you have an infinite number of beliefs and memories and thoughts. Some of you have been here a long time. Nobody's laughing. Okay. So some of you have been here a long time, and some of you not so long. Emily, who's 23. So think about all that you have accumulated up to this point. That's all in your subconscious. Your subconscious is pushing up against your conscious. So very often, those subconscious beliefs and thoughts are really running the show. How can you change that? By using your conscious mind to change it. It's not about going in and figuring out, why do I feel this way? What's happening? What are my beliefs? Yes, that's all great work. But at the end of the day, the real work gets done. Once you've done the research, now you got to do the work, the real work. So what is the nature, as he says here, your conscious thought? What is the nature of your conscious thoughts? When you think, what's the nature of the way you think, Robbie? Do you think positive things? Yeah, right. Do you think constructive things, Dr. Tiffany? Most of the time. And there's the rub, isn't it? Most of the time. If most of the time is good, then most of the time you're going to have a better experience of life. But what if you're one of those people that's like 50-50? Half the time I'm thinking drama, half the time I'm thinking peace of mind. Or what if you're one of those people who's 60-40? 60% of the time you're always worrying. That's you? And 40% of the time, how old are you, Lexi? The 8-year-old just said, that's me. 9. So I had this great quote this week. Eric Bork mentioned a book, and I started reading it. And it's this great thing. Some grandmother calls up their grandchild and says, "Start worrying, details to follow." Right? Jewish grandmother, probably. So, no, Catholics are good at that too. So are you one of those people? Start worrying, details will follow. Because that's what you are setting up for your life. So, I want to talk to you about the weather. Seriously. How do you handle the weather? How did you all handle this last weather? Robbie, I know how you handled it. Robbie had a little flood in one of his closets, and so he spent how many hours?
Probably 3 or 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours clearing out the water in his closet. You know, so that was how he was physically handling the weather. So just think for a moment. How do you handle shifts in energy? How do you handle the weather when it goes from stormy to rainy to sunshine? Does it change you? So I want to give you my story about how I handled the weather. So Kevin was off in Texas having a beautiful time with no problem weather at all. And I was here with our 2 dogs who would look outside. I'd open the door, ready to take them on a walk, and they'd look at me like, "No, we're not going out in that." And I was like, "Well, then good luck, because you don't have a toilet in this house." And then they finally did go out, and literally the entire time they were just like miserable. Kind of the way you walked up here. They were really not having it. But after that huge rainstorm on the other night, I got up and I thought, there was no rain for a minute. I thought, let's get them out. So I get all of my rain gear on and I take them out and I walk out the door. And what I notice is that a lot of trees have fallen down. And my own pine trees had a lot of the branches had broken and had filled the whole street with branches, big branches. So I was like, oh, and then I took the dogs for a walk. But as I was coming back, I saw a car come up the street and then back up because it couldn't get past all the branches from my pine trees. And in my head, I'm like, wow, I hope somebody cleans that up. And, and I walked into the house, and as I got into the house, I was like, you have to clean it up. And I'm like talking to myself, I'm like, me? Where's Kevin?
I'm out of town.
Exactly. I was like, oh, I see, by default, I have to clean it up. So I went outside and I started picking up these huge branches and putting them over on the curb and then cutting them in pieces. And because when I start to do something, I really do it. And then I noticed that if I clean up my trees, some of my trees have landed down by these 2 houses and some have landed on these houses. And in my head, I was like, surely they'll come out and clean their houses. And I was like, well, it's my tree. So I just kept doing it. But I want to show you a picture of, that's kind of what's left of the 1 pine tree. And we have like 6 pine trees on our property. But it's beautiful. When you look up, it's just beautiful. And it was such blue skies at that particular moment. So I'm cleaning this whole thing up. And as I get about halfway done, now I've got the clippers out and I'm chopping them into little pieces. And I'm making a perfect, pristine little pile right in front of my house. And one of my neighbors came out and said, you don't need to sweep my street. I went, I have this. I was like so into it at this point. In fact, you'll see, because I took a picture of myself. Yeah. I forgot that my son was home. I could have asked him to help, but he was taking a shower. So he came out and took this picture of me. He was like, Dad, you look like so butch. I was like, you know, I'm getting over this idea that my clothes decide if I am butch or not. I am butch. And that's all there is to it. Don't you laugh so loud, Joe. Joe actually threw his head back and laughed. So anyway, but now I'm not just telling you this because it was a funny story for me. I had a huge aha as I was standing there. And I really did clean everything. I mean, I really made such a beautiful, neat pile of it all. But halfway through, as I'm picking up these branches and chopping them and all, I looked up and I saw the tree and I thought, I bet the tree doesn't care that some of its branches fell off. It is right now glistering. I mean, look at that. Just glittering in the sunlight. And I am down on the ground chopping up pieces of what it had to go through. And I had this huge aha about my life, about all of our lives, in terms of weather. How do we deal with the weather of our lives? And what I mean by that is, how do we deal with the things that come up in our lives? They're like these branches that fall down, and we do have to deal with them. Because if I did not clean these up, I'm sure I would have heard it from some neighbors saying, no one can get down our street. No one can get down our street. Nothing can come through if you are that cluttered. If everything that breaks or breaks you or looks like it could break you stays right where it is, then nothing can move forward. This is what I'm doing on the street when I'm cleaning. But I had this big aha, and I literally stood there looking up at all of our trees, thinking, you have let go of what you needed to let go of and moved on. Living in this magnificent, magnificent city that they live in, and in this beautiful sky. So once the weather subsides, are you still down on the street with the broken pieces, or are you standing tall like the tree, moving on? Clean it up and move on. That's what I got. And what that means is every aspect of my life, when we say love only, forgive everything, that's part of clean it up and move on. Are you still holding on to anything that is stopping the flow of your energy, your life force? And if you do remember who you are going to know without a shadow of a doubt that you are constantly moving on. Life is changing, as the song says in Rolling River God. Life is about change. But the clean it up part is also very, very important. So I have a quote here from Walt Disney. The way to get started is to quit talking and start doing. So if Walt Disney had been just a talker, we wouldn't have Disneyland. We wouldn't have had Mickey Mouse. You wouldn't have had a job. I mean, think about it. Walt Disney was not just a talker. He was one of the great actioneers of our generation. And there are many people I could talk about who are amazing thinkers, but not just amazing thinkers, they're amazing doers. So when we talk about prosperity, our job is to ask ourselves, are we doing what we're here to do? And are we willing to clean it up and move on? All the things in your life that need cleanup. Clean up on aisle me. Clean it up, and most importantly, move on. So, Euripides said this, much effort, much prosperity. You want a prosperous life? You really want a prosperous life? Clean up what you need to clean up to allow the energy to flow through. Clean it up, and then watch as it moves on. It could be relationships. It could be beliefs. This book I'm reading talks about an epidemic, bless you, Jim, an epidemic in this world of low self-esteem. You know what? If you have low self-esteem of any kind, if you find yourself less than, if you think you are not equal to, you're not as good as, you need to clean that crap up because that's the pollution, right? I'm done comparing myself to anyone. When I do it, I will clean it up. But really, it's a dead-end street. So, much effort, much prosperity. If you are willing to really do the work, then you get to what? Live the results. But it means you have to be willing to let your branches break. You have to be willing to let go of what does not serve you, what does not work. You have to be willing to let go of beliefs that do not serve you. They're the branches. And then you just have to clean them up. Pay attention. Notice them. If it comes back again, I have a big tree. I have big trees at my house. There are going to be other branches that fall down. My job is to tell Kevin to clean them up if he's home. If I'm home, I guess my job is to do it myself. Ernest Holmes said this, let us choose to be identified with power with love, with beauty, with peace and happiness. Let us identify ourselves with abundance and with success. There's a lot of talk these days about how do you identify. Do you identify as him, her, he, she, thee, they, we, us? A lot of talk about that. And I think it's important talk. And I think people should identify themselves however they feel comfortable and whatever works for them. And we need to start identifying ourselves as those things. Forget about he or she. How about happy or sad? What do you identify yourself as? Prosperous or lacking? Do you identify yourself as young or old? How many people here identify themselves as old? Of course, no one's going to raise the, oh, okay. Okay. What is old? Do you have to be 100 to be old? Is that old, 100? 100 seems like it's born again. Right? Think about it. Not a born-again Christian, but to be born again. To go, oh my God, I have lived 100 freaking years, and I've seen it all. And now I have all of this wisdom, and I'm ready to give it. We are not ready to go out to pasture because we turn a certain age. Now is when you get to show what you know, who you know yourself to be. So, how are you going to identify? And when I talk about identify and prosperity, it is imperative that if you want to have a prosperous life, that you identify as prosperity. Period. Tell your grandmother to not call again. You know, start worrying. Details to follow. How about start planning? Details to follow. Start growing rich. Details to follow. Start doing what you know is in your heart to do. Details to follow. Because details will follow, because the universe will always show you the way. That's what that whole song's about. Life's what you make it. Take in all the sunshine. Bottle up the rain. Go where the wind goes. Let it show the way. Because it does, and it will. And all you have to do is listen. You know, I need to clean up and move on, whatever that is. So the title of my talk was Make It Good. What in your life do you need to make good? And that could be some really gnarly crap that you need to make good, that you need to look at and say, I am good with this. Now move on. I will clean up the branches. I will wear a beautiful butch-looking outfit. And I will do the work. And I will live the results. But most importantly, I will move on. Those branches, by the way, on my street, when the gardener comes this week, they will be put in a basket, in a bin, unless you do it before that, and they will take the bin away, and I will never see them again. I will never deal with them again. I don't have to. That's what you can do with your mind. They've already fallen, whatever the branches are. Let them go to their perfect resting place. Let them to be regenerated into good. Make it good. Make all of that stuff, whatever it is, whatever's going on in your life, make it good, clean it up, and then move on. You know why? Because you can. Because you can. Because there is a power for good in the universe, greater than we think of ourselves sometimes as being. And we can use it by the power of our mind because we are it. We are this amazing good. We are this prosperity, this happiness, this success, all of it. That's who we are. Just clean up the branches and start growing the new branches in the light of a brand new day. Namaste. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See what can come even from a rainstorm? Okay, take a deep breath, everybody. Take out your contribution. Everybody, in all of our watch parties going on, there is a little link there that you can click on and contribute to be part of our prosperity in our whole world of Global Truth Center. So let's know this together, shall we? Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns. How? Multiply abundantly. That is how I identify multiplied abundantly. I circulate my love right now. I circulate my love.
Circulate my love right now. I circulate my love.
I circulate my love right now. I circulate my love.
Circulate my love right now. I circulate my love.
And it returns to me, multiplied abundantly. I circulate my joy right now. I circulate my joy.
Circulate my joy right now. I circulate my joy.
I circulate my joy right now. I circulate my joy.
Circulate my joy right now. I circulate my joy.
And it returns to me, multiply abundantly. Circulation, it's across the nation. It's a love vibration. Emily Edwards.
Around the world and beyond.
I circulate my gifts right now. I circulate my gifts.
Circulate my gifts right now. I circulate my gifts.
I circulate my gifts right now. I circulate my gifts.
Circulate my gifts right now. I circulate my gifts.
And it returns to me, multiply abundantly. Circulate.
Right now, I identify.
Circulate, Larry. Circulate.
Right now, I identify with energy, with love, with remembering exactly who I am, who everyone in this room is. This is the spirit, the expansion, the consciousness that is love, that is abundance, that is prosperity. And I know that that is exactly who is in this room today. Everyone who is expanding, who is feeling that love and feeling that truth in their life. And I'm so grateful to be part of this community. And with that gratitude, I release my word as law, knowing it is done, perfect, complete, and so it is.
Circulate my love right now. I circulate my love.
Circulate my love right now. I circulate my love.
I circulate my love.
Circulate my love.
And it returns to me, multiply abundantly. Oh!
February 26th, and here are your Global Truth Center announcements. Coming up on the calendar, Soul Immersion takes place on the first and third Fridays of the month. So we're beginning March's immersion this coming Friday, March 3rd. Join us at 7 p.m. for an energizing sound bath experience with Dr. James, Scott Gibb, and Swan Draper. These events are very popular, so we recommend arriving early. We gratefully accept a $20 love donation at the door. The next day, Saturday, March 4th, join us for our first Divine Dining event of 2023. We're having an Italian feast, lovingly prepared by Aaron Tenner, Thor Chalgren, Becky Kemmerer, and Kevin Bailey. We'll have Mama Chalgren's family spaghetti recipe, and we'll also have gluten-free options. This event will be from 5 to 9 p.m. and will be hosted at the home of Kevin and Dr. James. We're inviting up to 30 people for this fundraiser event, and you can sign up now on our website. Just go to the calendar page. On Sunday, March 5th, after our Sunday celebration, join us for our healing circle right here in the sanctuary. Our GTC practitioners will be here to know the truth for you and your life. On Sunday, March 12th, join us here in Westlake for a special concert. It's Amy Steinberg live in concert. Amy is deeply involved with the New Thought and positive music world and plays at conferences, churches, venues, and festivals all over the country. She plays the piano and guitar with her own swingy rhythmic bounce, injecting shades of jazz, rock, hip-hop, and poetry, all with a theatrical flair. Deeply soulful with her bombastic belt, she sings of self-love and open-mindedness. This event is live in person only, and tickets are now available on our website. You can find the link on the calendar page. Finally, if you've been considering joining our celebration cruise to Alaska in August, now is the time to sign up. The special promotional offer is available to our group and on March 4th. So if you're going to join us, we want to make sure to speak to you this week and get you on the ship. We'll have special workshops and, well, it's Alaska. You never know what you might see in this amazing place, but you won't see it if you don't sign up for it. If you have questions, please speak with Thor or Pauline today. You can always find out what's going on by visiting our calendar on the website. To find it easily, just use your cell phone on the QR codes you see throughout the sanctuary. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Thank you, Thor. I just want to say about Alaska, to all of you in our home groups, sign up. That way we all get to meet each other in Alaska.
I just had a great thought. You know how on the Mexican cruise we had the Gilligan's Island Castaway Party?
Oh no, are you going to give another theme?
Yes, if you're coming on the Alaska cruise, Thor, I just made this up. We are going to have, there you are. We are, you know how where are you? I'm talking to you up there. We need to have a Lumberjack and Jane party.
Oh, that works.
We are totally,
Steve.
You're coming, Brabants. So start getting the Lumberjack and Jane outfit together now. I'm telling you.
The ultimate putsch.
I was inspired. So if you're coming on the Alaska cruise, we will be hosting in our suite, our room, a Lumberjack and Jane party, and it could be a Lumberjack, Jane, and they party. Okay, so everyone should feel included, right? If you're coming, get that. I'm jumping.
Okay.
Yeah.
I loved how the slide said that the Italian event was going to be at the home of Kevin Bailey. I didn't know I moved out.
You can come. You're invited. Anyway, so Divine Dining. The Divine Dining events have kicked off amazingly. This Saturday at our home is the Italian Feast. You don't want to miss it. We have plenty of room yet. We're about halfway sold. Thor is going to be cooking up an Italian feast, and I know for a fact Aaron Tenner is making...
Aaron's the one cooking.
Oh, Aaron's doing all the cooking. Oh, okay. You're cooking Mama Shulgren's... No, I thought you were. Stop. It's a team. It's a team. Right, exactly. But Aaron's going to be doing this incredible garlic bread. I can tell you there will be options for those of you who are vegan, vegetarian. Why you don't want to enjoy Karen Oxrider really good meat-based food, I don't know. But there will be food for you to eat. Becky Kemmerer is making up the most incredible pesto and cannolis. And I promise for all of my winos that James and I will be hitting the wine store for really, really great bubbly. So you don't want to miss it. However, here's the one thing. You need to sign up, and if you're watching online, you need to sign up by Wednesday, okay, so that we can get a sense of food. So you can sign up online, or if you're in the sanctuary today, I'll be out in the breezeway. Secondly, yes, the Seder event sold out right away, okay? So we are closed. However, I am taking a list for a wait list because not everyone is paid yet. Several people signed up, and then they had to go home and check their calendars. So if you think you want to come to the Seder, please let me know, and I'll put you on a wait list, all right?
It's a New Thought Seder.
The New Thought Seder, yes. That's the one in April. But the Divine Dining events will all be online later this week. You can sign up online to attend, but see me in the breezeway because I'd like to collect the money. One last thing.
Okay.
Thor had an idea, and I think it's a great idea. All of our friends who are watching online, Palm Springs, all the way up the West Coast, Seattle, Ontario. The first Sunday of every month, we do a great community event.
Yes.
And Thor had this idea, and it seemed like April, but why not next week? Next week we have on Friday night, we've got Soul Immersion. Saturday night, the Italian Feast at our house. And then Sunday is our first Sunday kickoff community family experience. Ann Monahan and company do an incredible spread downstairs. If you're watching online and you think you want to join us for some or all of next weekend, contact us. We have this great idea that we will find you a place to stay so that our friends far and wide can join us to be part of our community here in Westlake.
In person, you mean? Okay,
Exactly.
good.
It was a brilliant
Excellent.
idea, and I was like, why are we waiting till April? Brilliant idea, needs to, just
Good.
like Walt Disney, put it in action. So if you're watching, you want to be with us for all or part of next weekend, contact us. We'll find you a place to stay, and you can be with us for Soul Immersion, the Italian Feast, and the incredible Sunday spread we put out next week.
Yes, we can Carolyn, someone can stay at Carolyn's house. She's plenty of room.
We got plenty of room. All right, that's it. I got it. I'll see you in the breezeway.
Thank you. Can I have my microphone?
No.
Yeah. Okay, what else do I have here? So I want to talk a moment about Amy Steinberg is one of the great, great singer-songwriters. She's one of those people that does, and she'll do it at an inner concert. She will ask 3 people to give her topics. She'll write them down, and then she will write a rap song with those topics. It's unbelievable what comes out of this woman. She is a dynamo, and she is flying in from North Carolina for the weekend. She'll be doing a concert in San Diego on Friday. She does another concert somewhere on Saturday, and she's here on Sunday. So please bring your friends. This is a great way to introduce them to what New Thought really is all about. Her music is spectacular, and she's hysterically funny as well. You'll be like watching the early days of Bette Midler without the raunch, just to be clear. She is raunchy. Our practitioners today are Steve Brabant and Becky Kemmer. Where are you going to be, Steve? Upstairs. So Dr. Steve will be right here in the meditation room, and and Becky Kemmer, someday, will be downstairs in the counseling office. So please, if something came up today, if you have some branches that are laying there and you haven't been able to pick them up for a long time, go to them, let them pick them up for you. Okay. All right, everyone. I think that was it, right? Excellent. So everybody take a deep breath. What a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody online, for joining us today. People have talked about what is spiritual community and how long can it last? How long can church last? The idea of church. Well, I think so long as people are people and people want to be around other people, it's going to last forever, because that's what we do. We come together, we love one another, we accept one another for all of it, no matter what, and we celebrate. Celebrate. That's our theme this year. Celebrate all the differences and all the similarities and everything in between. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for making Global Truth Center your home, because it is. And so it is. I invite you to stand up, and let's lay this into law. So you think there's nothing new under the sun? If it's possible, it's already been done. If you think this stage has all been set, think again. You ain't seen nothing yet. It's gonna come up with the wave of your head. You're smack dab in the middle of the promised land.